Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar. This is the Tamarack Aerospace StartEngine webinar. Today, we just want to give you an overview of why we're doing the fundraising and more importantly, what the future is for Tamarack Aerospace. So let's jump into it. First of all, who is Tamarack Aerospace? We are aviators. This is what we do. Many of us are pilots. We've been in the industry a long time. And this is what we're passionate about. We're passionate about aviation, and we've brought that passion into a new technology that's really important for the industry, and we're really excited to share that with you today. We've taken that passion and developed it into technology, but not only that, we've also commercialized it. And we have 150 business jets flying around today with this technology, and we're ready to take that to the next level. So here's the problem we're trying to solve. Aviation in general is responsible for 2 to 3% of all carbon emissions worldwide. And that number is going to continue to grow as travel increases and as other industries start to decarbonize. Aviation will be a bigger portion of that. So industry groups like ICAO and other groups have set aggressive carbon reduction targets. We're all targeting reducing carbon by 50% by 2050, which is a huge hurdle, but it's doable if we all work together. And Tamarack has a great opportunity to participate that in a major way in the near term and in the far term. Most aviation green technologies available are only small incremental changes, and a lot of them are far out in the future. A lot of them are really exciting, like sustainable aviation fuel, and things like hybrid electric technology. Those are great and they're coming, but they're really far away. The traditional passive winglet has been probably the biggest thing to provide green and sustainable solutions and business solutions by reducing drag on aircraft and reducing fuel consumption and emissions. But that's on the order of 4%. We're all used to seeing winglets on airliners right now, but those are providing about 4% fuel savings, which is great, but we can do much better. We can double that. So let's talk about what we can do. Like I said, Tamarack has developed a technology and we've patented it worldwide. We have over 30 patents and we do all of it. So we start with the concept. We've patented the concept and the technology. We've developed that technology with our engineering team, and we've taken it even further than that. We've certified it around the world with the authorities in Europe and in the US and all the rest of the world through FAA and EASA. And we've established an installation network and a service network. So we're not just doing the engineering and the technology, but we're also able to implement the technology. And that's what we've done. So this beautiful picture here is called a King Air. This is a twin turboprop. This is one of our platforms that we're working on right now. Let's talk about why all of this matters. First of all, significant fuel efficiency. Fuel savings is important from a business standpoint, but also from a sustainability and global responsibility standpoint. And so along with that fuel savings and efficiency comes reduced emissions, really important. There's also the utility. The increased range and endurance for an aircraft, whether it's for business jets, for military, or for commercial, is really important to be able to have that extra utility, and we can offer that big improvement. There's also climb performance, which has safety benefits and utility benefits, and then takeoff and landing distance, again, providing safety benefits and utility benefits. All of these things come with our technology. So let's talk a little bit about the technology. What does it mean? So SmartWing technology is a combination of a few things, but in aerodynamic terms, we're extending the wing and adding a winglet. So the winglet is the vertical fin at the tip of the wing. And of course, the wing extension is the wing extension. And these things are working together aerodynamically to reduce the drag on the airplane. And this idea isn't new. So here's a diagram showing kind of a progression, especially earlier airplanes, even though winglets have been around literally for 100 years. A lot of the earlier airplanes didn't have winglets. So that top diagram is what we call a flat wing airplane, kind of an early airplane. And there's something that can be improved and has been improved on a lot of airplanes just like that with the traditional passive winglet. And so that's the second illustration that you see there, where the vertical fin is added, the gray wingtip, winglet, is added, and that's providing, like I said, 4 to 10% savings depending on the airframe, which has been great. You see them on all the airliners. They've saved a lot of fuel, but those have been designed with limitations because when you put those on, you have to reinforce the wing because now the wing load that's supporting the aircraft is further away from the airplane. It increases the bending stress on the wing. And so it's a compromise between the aerodynamic benefits and the weight penalties associated with adding those extra, that extra wingspan using those kind of winglets. So then our technology is here on the bottom. You can see aerodynamically, it's really simple. We're adding a lot more than what would typically be done on an aerodynamic mod like this. So our SmartWing technology allows bigger aerodynamic benefits. And we're going to talk about why we're able to offer that with our SmartWing technology. So this slide shows kind of what you saw in the last one. You got a wing extension, you've got a winglet, and these are sized and designed to offer premium aerodynamic benefits. And instead of putting extra structural reinforcement in the wing to address those extra stresses in the wing, we're using a system. It's called Atlas. It's load alleviation. So if you think about it as the wing trying to bend up when you hit a gust or you're doing a maneuver, in response to that, our system is pushing back down on the wing when it needs to. And outside of those limited instances in flight where the wing is trying to bend up because of a gust or a maneuver, you're just getting all those extra aerodynamic benefits without the structural penalties, the weight penalties that go along with that. So it's really taking the next generation of an aerodynamic mod that's already been proven and making it bigger and better. So our technology was never meant to be on business jets. We started there, but it wasn't meant to be limited to business jets. So we think about the business as the business jet community, the military and defense community, and then the commercial community. So like I said, we have 150 business jets flying around right now. That's our entry into the business jet market, and there are more business jets to come. But our technology is modular and scalable, which is really important to be able to apply it across these spectrums. So we're working on a military platform called the King Air right now. That's the picture you see right there. And again, this is just our entryway into that market. There are other bigger platforms that we would love to provide fuel savings and payload increases and things like that in the military context. And so we'll be working on that. But the really big opportunity, and the reason we're so excited, is the commercial jet opportunity. Because like we were talking about, aviation is responsible for 2 to 3% of carbon emissions. The vast majority of those emissions are coming from the commercial operations, which makes sense, right? So we want to move into that opportunity. And like I said, traditional passive winglets have already been applied there. We estimate about $7 billion worth of commercial winglets have been installed, and we want to take those winglets off and put something much better on those aircraft. Not only the existing aircraft, but future aircraft too. So here's a little bit about reasons to invest. I mean, I think you saw it from the last slide. There's a huge opportunity ahead of us to take this technology and scale it. There's the sustainability element, which is really important, but also the fuel efficiency benefits. So if we talk about a business case, you might remember Southwest Airlines had a commercial a long time ago about their doohickeys, which was their winglets. They were advertising saving 55 million gallons of fuel every year just because of their winglets. Imagine if they could double that. That's a huge business opportunity for airlines and commercial operators, charter operators. And it also comes with not only a commercial benefit, but also a social benefit in terms of sustainability and reducing millions of gallons of fuel burned and the associated emissions. The second thing is the increased performance. So if you look at an aircraft as an asset and think about how can that aircraft be used today, and how can we change that aircraft to make it much more usable in terms of range, in terms of payload, that's a huge benefit for an operator and a huge reason to invest. So number 3 for reasons to invest is the traction that Tamarack already has. Like I said, we've already developed and deployed this technology on 150 business jets around the world. we've shown that we can go through that process, go through the certification, go through the customer installation process, customer support process, and now it's just time to scale it. And that's why we're doing this fundraising, to be able to move into bigger and other platforms. Let's talk a little bit more about sustainability and fuel efficiency. So I was talking about our business jet products. Right now, some of our business jet products offer up to 33% range improvement. That's a big number, especially if you compare that to a traditional winglet mod that's 4 to 10%. 33% is a big number. We realize that. But real operators are seeing this today. There are 3-hour airplanes out there that are now 4-hour airplanes with our technology. We've seen it time and time again. This is possible. And again, it's not something you wouldn't expect, because we're doing something much, much more than what has typically been done. So it makes sense that they would be bigger benefits. But it's not just the ability to go 4 hours now instead of 3 hours. Think about the safety benefits of now doing that 3-hour mission, and now you have an hour of reserve fuel on board. If you run into weather, traffic, all kinds of other scenarios where you might need extra fuel, now you have that safety margin, which is something that we hear all the time from our customers. The safety part is such a big thing to them, knowing that they have that margin and not having to worry and stress if they're doing a longer mission. So the 33% savings is big, and think about the emission savings that goes along with that. Really important. There's also a noise reduction element of what we do. Because we're offering a climb performance, because we're offering takeoff and landing distance performance benefits, there's a noise reduction. This is a big part of what the FAA is focused on, especially looking at urban areas with commercial aircraft. Noise reduction is a big part of the environmental studies that are done by the FAA and other working groups to ensure that aviation is a sustainable environment, not only from a fuel consumption and emission standpoint, but also from a noise standpoint. The technology is retrofittable. This is really important as we look at the horizon of trying to decarbonize aviation. There are a lot of things on the longer term horizon. Tamarack is retrofittable, so we can apply this technology, scale it into aircraft that are already out there right now. It's just a matter of going through the FAA certification and the EASA certification, the development process. And that's huge in terms of sustainability, to take aircraft that are already in place and make them more efficient as they sit. But it's not just retrofittable. We can also deploy this technology on clean sheet designs, which is a great opportunity for future aircraft that'll have more efficient engines and all kinds of other benefits, to put this technology with those technologies and get all of the benefits together. One special thing about what we're doing, because we're alleviating the load on the wing, is we're able to extend the wing life of the aircraft. Because the stress on the wing is actually a little bit lower than it would have been if we left it as a flat wing airplane. So that's another part about getting the most out of the asset from a business standpoint, but also from a sustainability standpoint. If you look at the carbon footprint of allowing that aircraft to be in service longer, it's a big benefit that way. So here's a little bit more about the performance. This is the performance benefits that SmartWing Technologies brings. Improved takeoff and landing performance, because we're adding more wing, has better climb performance, slower approach and landing speeds. And then mission readiness. This is a big one. Not everybody understands or sees that when you're operating at a high altitude or a high temperature, because the air is thinner in those conditions, there are weight limitations for being able to take off. And so if you're a charter operator or a defense operator or even a commercial operator, in those conditions, you're limited. So you're only able to take some kind of a discount on your fuel or your payload in those conditions, or wait until the conditions change. So the mission readiness, because we can extend that weight limitation, is really important, and it's a huge benefit for operators. Then we have increased flight smoothing and stability. So not only is the aircraft more stable in the air, and we've actually reduced some of the flight limitations for aircraft when we add our modification. Because it's more stable, we can reduce some of the limitations associated with autopilot being turned off or things like that. The aircraft is more stable aerodynamically, but it's also more smooth. Because we're doing this active load alleviation, it's kind of like an aerodynamic shock absorber. And so an aircraft is more smooth, more stable, and more comfortable. And then finally, the faster and higher climb capabilities. For every 1,000 feet higher an aircraft is operating, it's 3% more efficient. So if you think about that as 3% better miles per gallon for every 1,000 feet higher, if we can allow an aircraft to climb better, climb higher initially at that early weight when it's heavy and it has a lot of fuel on board, and then be able to operate at those higher altitudes, that's where the big savings is. So the climb performance is there for safety. It comes and it provides a safety benefit for being up and away, but also in terms of fuel efficiency, which is just, it's a great benefit. Some more about our technology. Like I said, our technology has already been approved by FAA and EASA and other authorities around the world. We've gone through that process. Our team understands that really well. We've established that traction in the market. And we've established that we can build and deliver under FAA and EASA guidelines. We can build and deliver product to over 150 business jets around the world, and then provide service and fleet support for those aircraft. So the next thing is the King Air product. We're in development on that product right now. We've seen a lot of interest, and we've actually started that project at the request of some of the defense operators because they saw what we were doing on the citations and they wanted to have more capabilities for their aircraft. And that has applications in civilian use as well. But because of the traction that we're getting more attention from outside entities. We've submitted congressional testimony about the sustainability benefits of our technology. And we've had interest from NASA and ICAO and other industry groups as they see the sustainability benefits and the operational benefits that really go hand in hand to make this a viable technology in the near term. It's really exciting to start to see that traction that we're getting with outside entities. So here's a little bit more about kind of looking into the future and what does it mean for our business. Like I said, we see that traditional passive winglets have been installed on commercial aircraft. That's about a $7 billion market if you just look at what has already been installed. But if you just look at the King Air, we have an example here, the King Air product on the left there. We see a revenue potential of about 146 million in that market for the King Air. And that's going to be a development cost of about $5 million. So that's all the expenses associated with having the aircraft, fuel, pilots, certification testing with FAA, our engineering staff to develop that product and bring it to market. Likewise, on the other side, you can see if we look at like a narrow body aircraft, so either a 737 or an A320, we're not even saying we're going to capture that 7 billion that's already been established in the market. If we take half of that, for example, that's a $3 billion market for Tamarack with our technology. And it's a huge opportunity. The development costs associated with something like that, we estimate to be about $60 million. So part of that is the certification element, like you see on the King Air, but also scaling the technology. And of course, everything's bigger, so there's more expense there. About a $60 million development effort, but a $3 billion revenue potential. It's a huge opportunity. So let's talk a bit about some of the perks. Hopefully you came into this webinar through the StartEngine platform and you're already familiar, but if you're not, I really encourage you to go look at our campaign page on StartEngine. There's a lot of information on that page about what we're offering, why we're offering it, and some of the details there. And I just want to talk today a little bit about the perks. So as you can see on this slide, there are different investment levels. And because you're buying shares in Tamarack, at some of these higher investment levels, they're bonus shares, and we'll talk about that. But let's start on the left side here. Tier 1, one of the beauties of StartEngine and crowdfunding in general, and this is why we got involved with StartEngine, and we're so excited about it because from a community and sustainability standpoint, this makes investing in Tamarack accessible to anyone through the crowdfunding platform. So we've set some tiers here. Investing $1,000, we want to reach out to you with a gift, a really nice Tamarack Nike hat. There are other tiers investment at $2,000, at $5,000, we want to give you some even better swag packages to go along with that. And then at $10,000, that's where the bonus shares start to kick in. So for every amount of shares that you buy at that level, you're going to get 3% additional. You're also going to get at that level a memento about your commitment to sustainable aviation. We see that as a big opportunity for people to participate in bringing sustainable aviation to the marketplace. And then $50,000 investment tier, that's a 5% bonus shares. That's a huge discount, essentially, an opportunity. And at this level, especially, we want to make sure we have a personal connection with you. So there's an opportunity at that level to get a tour, a video tour, or in person if you're in the area, to come see our facility, and I'll show you around personally. And at $100,000, it's a 7% bonus share. It's a really big benefit there in terms of a discount and opportunity. And again, we want to have a personal connection with you at $100,000. So we want to offer an opportunity to meet with our president and CEO, or CEO and founder, rather, Nick Guida, and have some FaceTime with him and develop that personal connection. So we're going to wrap it up now. I want to part with, if you have questions that weren't answered in this webinar, please go to the StartEngine page. The benefit of that page is that if you have a question, because other people probably have that question, if you go there and leave your question in the comment section, we can answer it in that format, and then we'll be answering you, but also answering the community. And you can see there are already questions and answers in there. We're really diligent about answering those as quick as we can. And again, the StartEngine page has a lot of information to go through. Please take a look at that, and you'll be able to understand more about the opportunities. But I hope after today, after this webinar, you've had a little bit better understanding of what our vision is and why we're so passionate about what we're doing. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Have a good afternoon, and we'll see you next time.